Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to do my NXT November the 11th reports. But first, please do me a favor and hit that like button. Please hit the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, please hit subscribe. If you already are subscribed, thank you for being subscribed. So now let's get into NXT. The show started with Johnny Gargano in front of a wheel of opponents, because now Johnny Gargano loves wheels. It's stupid. This is some stupid shit. And he's going to defend the North American Championship against whoever the wheel lands on. The wheel lands on Leon Ruff. So he gimmicked the wheel. Johnny Gargano later will admit that he gimmicked this wheel to pick Leon Ruff. And Leon Ruff goes in there and he has this pretty standard Leon Ruff match where he kind of does a lot of escapes. He's very slippery, very agile, and but he gets sort of dominated. He's getting pretty much beaten up by Johnny Gargano when he actually gets caught. And then we find out that Damian Priest is watching, and Johnny Gargano, he's watching through the partition, through the hockey glass. And then Gargano starts to taunt him, and so Priest comes around the hockey glass to get within reach of Gargano, and Gargano kind of rolls in the ring, but he's still kind of just taunting Priest. And then, Leon Ruff tries to get a quick roll up, and it was a little hope spot. Nothing happens. They do some more stuff, and then Priest, Gargano is distracted by Priest, and then Leon Ruff rolls up Gargano in a crucifix, I believe it was, and pinned him. And now Leon Ruff is the North American champion. This guy wins one match and is the North American champion. I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, there is something to be said about giving people a surprise and doing feel-good stories. That is something that you can do. You can do a feel-good story, and then the whole idea of Johnny Gargano can win a title, but can't he defend it? And he can't defend it. This is the same thing they were doing with Sasha Banks. Well, she can win a title, but can she really defend it? He's cursed. That's what they've been saying. Oh, Johnny Gargano is cursed. And now he's so cursed that he lost a match to basically, people are going to start calling Leon Ruff the 1, 2, 3 kid. In order for that to happen, he would have had to win the match on his own. When you do a distraction finish, he didn't win the match on his own. So it's not really the same thing. And yes, it is a feel-good story. After the match, Damian Priest gave Leon Ruff the keys to his car and let him go drive around in his car. And the entire locker room gave Leon Ruff, a standing ovation. It was like, wow, it was a big deal. And there's a lot to talk about with Leon Ruff. One, this can be a positive because at least they're doing something with the guy. He's not just on the roster doing jobs. He actually now has something that NXT has proven and put some time into, and they believe in him that he can carry this. Okay? Or, two, they just gave him that title so that he could give it to someone else. And probably going to be another heel. Probably going to be another heel that they didn't want Johnny Gargano losing to. Which is more likely the case. So that means that he's just a transitional champion. Which means that we had Johnny Gargano win the title just to transition it to Leon Ruff. Just to transition it to someone else. Which is shit booking. Could have just had Priest lose the title to whoever you're going to have Ruff lose it to. And then you still got Priest and Gargano tied at the hip. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't have no problem with Leon Ruff. I don't even really have a problem with Leon Ruff winning the title if Leon Ruff had won the title on his own. If you was telling me the story that Leon Ruff was a guy who was going to fight and not give up, and then maybe he catches Johnny Gargano in a moonsault or a small package or something and wins the match. Complete and total fluke, but in winning the match, he wins the title. That would have been a great story. All right, because this guy's a complete and total jobber. Well, he was a jobber. I don't know. Well, he still is. I mean, I guess winning one match doesn't make you a jobber. You know, doesn't make you not a jobber anymore. But now, I mean, it's also pretty strange because isn't that a slap in the face to all the other guys that's kind of been on the roster a lot longer than Leon Ruff? Guys like Isaiah Scott, who've been in the company, you know, they won't make him the cruiserweight champion, but they make fucking Leon Ruff the North American champion. What about all of the guys like Timothy Thatcher? They couldn't win that title. Guys like Cameron Grimes who couldn't win that title. Guys like Dexter Lumis who couldn't win that title. And they gave it to Leon Ruff. Now, let's think about this. Let's be rational. NXT is developmental. Almost all of the guys I mentioned don't really need to be development. Doesn't really need development. Leon Ruff kind of does. Okay, so it's kind of strange to put to train them through fire and blood, but okay. I really want to just sit down and look at what they do with Leon Ruff first before coming to a conclusion of whether I like it or not. Because my gut response was, one, they're trying to go with feel-good story, but this is not good because he didn't win the title on his own, for starters. Second, I know that the first time he's wrestled somebody of any real threat, he's going to just drop it. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. The first time he wrestles somebody that's any sort of that ranks of any caliber, would it be like somebody like Timothy Thatcher? Maybe. Would it be somebody like Bronson Reed? Maybe. You know, would it be somebody like Austin Theory, who might probably be coming back? Maybe. But ultimately, Leon Ruff is the champion in a transitional fashion. They even did something real silly with him, where he tries to put the belt on, and then the belt slips off. And then on Triple H on Twitter said, this is why we don't call it a belt. Because he's so thin, he can't put the belt on. The belt slips off of his body. And I just said to myself, I really hope that they have plans of pushing Leon Ruff and making him a star and doing something with him and building something up with him. Because it was a shock that got a lot of people into the show. It worked. It worked, because I was like, what the hell? And then I also thought they were going to do it in the second match. I was like, they must, they probably just going to start doing this shit. Because match 2 was Santos Escobar versus Jake Atlas. And they had a badass match. You know, Jake Atlas almost killed himself on a suicide dive. But other than that, they had a pretty good match. And I thought for a moment that they were going to switch this cruiserweight title. Because in my mind, I was already putting it together like, okay, if Santos Escobar loses this title, he can just beat Leon Ruff for that title. And then he lost to Jake Atlas and won the cruiserweight belt. But he's held it long enough. And then he can go and beat Leon Ruff for this North American title. But they had Santos Escobar win this match. But I do like that Jake Atlas went on the attack. You know, the previous week, he got into it with Legado del Fantasma in the parking lot. He knocked out, I think it was Raul Mendoza. This week, he showed up to the show with a pipe. He chased him down and hit Raul Mendoza in the rib cage with a pipe, because he didn't want him interfering in the match. So there was basically just Joaquin Wilde outside the ring, while Atlas and wrestled Escobar. And then as the match built, Mendoza showed up with a pipe, with the pipe that he got hit with, apparently, or I'm assuming it's the pipe he got hit with. And Atlas had to fight them both off. And then, the finish was a basic wrestling finish. I actually enjoyed the finish. The finish came with, the cartwheel DDT into a double underhook knee smash. So it was fun. Atlas, this is the best match Jake Atlas has had since he joined NXT. Santos Escobar continues to put on good matches, but I feel like he's underappreciated. I think especially he's underappreciated by, I think the Cruiserweight title is not helping. Let's put it like that. I don't think the Cruiserweight title is helping him. And I think that it probably would have made more sense for Leon Ruff to be the Cruiserweight champion. I don't know what they're doing with Leon Ruff. That's just such a stunning segment that they did with Leon Ruff. Just have no earthly idea what they're doing. I'm gonna skip the Dexter Lumis stuff because Dexter Lumis drew a picture of Cameron Grimes and the zombie. We'll talk about this later. So Shotzi Blackheart cuts a promo about her tank, and she's talking about the tank represents who she is. The tank represents the family she has in the military because it's Veterans Day in the United States, and she says the tank represents freedom. And you know, so it's a personal thing that Candice LeRae destroyed her tank, and now she's going to kick Candice LeRae's ass. And I said to myself, I don't know, man. I don't know about this Shotzi talking thing. She sounds a little stilted, you know. It's developmental. That's what I'm going to fall back on that. It's developmental, but she still feels a little stilted when she talks. Like she's trying to remember exactly what they told her to say and not really just feeling it and going with it. Just, you know, talk about it like you was talking about something that really means something to you. You know, people get emotional about their toys, about their gimmicks and stuff. It's okay, you know, whatever. So then Raquel Gonzalez comes to the ring because she's about to have a match with Xia Li. At least that's what she thought. So then Boa comes to the ring and Boa's like, Xia Li is not here. So sorry, so sorry. Is that Japanese or that's Chinese? In any event, Raquel Gonzalez is super mad that she got called out by Xia Li, and then Xia Li decided not to show up, which I'm guessing is kind of a rip on Xia Li's kickboxing match where she was supposed to be in the match, and then at the last minute she decided not to show up. So Raquel Gonzalez decides to blindside Boa. She kicks him while he was trying to get out of the ring, kicked him in the head. Then she beat him up, powerbombed him, a bunch of stuff. It was just real dumb. Real dumb. But Raquel Gonzalez is a big woman, okay? That's how I'm going to write it off in my head canon. That, you know, you kick somebody in the head when they're not looking, it's going to be very hard for them to retaliate. Then she beat him up, powerbombed him, told him, keep my name out of your mouth. And then she stormed off speaking in Spanish. And while he was down, the lights cut out. And then we started seeing like dragons floating through the trines. And I was like, what is this? And the lights started changing. And then Boa kind of is spooked. So he crawls out of the ring and he's down on his knees. And some ancient Chinese guy walks down the ramp with a letter. He gives it to Boa and then he marks Boa's hand. And I was like, wait a minute. Is this the ancient Chinese secret? Wait a minute. Dragons. I'm like, is this the triads? Are they doing some triad shit? Like, I would really be down for that. I would really be down for like Xia Li and Boa being like triad members. Like, that would be badass. But you can't tell me they're not going to do that. Please let them do it. Look, Legado del Fantasma looks like a cartel. But they won't say that they're a cartel. I want them to be a triad. You know, they need at least one more guy, though. They need one more, like, Chinese person. Is there some other Chinese wrestler out there? You know, even though those two are, like, Chinese as far as, like, from actual China Chinese. Get, like, a Chinese-American who speaks English. Just so they can, you know, explain everything. But this looks fun, you know. And, you know, the guy, it looks like it has some mystique to it. You want to know what it means, where it's going, what's in the letter that Boa was given. But I also kind of took it as it could be something similar to Saya from Deadly Class. Like, if you probably never read the comic book Deadly Class, it was about Saya. Deadly Class is like Harry Potter except for its assassins. You know, instead of going to a school of assassins, a school of magic, it's a school of assassins. And they're all like edgy teenagers who smoke and do drugs and stuff like that and listen to rock music. It's set in the 80s. And Saya is sort of the main female character. She's like the daughter of a Japanese mob boss. She's like the daughter of the Yakuza. And she's like feuding with her brother who wants to be like the Yakuza leader, but she's actually better. But she can't be the leader because she's a girl. So you have that sort of stuff. That's one of the major plot points. She's not the main character. She's the main female character. And maybe that's a situation where we have here where we're going to have Xia Li went off to America to honor her family who are these like secret mercenaries or these secret badasses. And, you know, now she hasn't been doing a good job. and now they're gonna come to take her away or something like that, which was basically what Deadly Class was. You know, Saya, they wanted to take her back home, so they took her back home and all that type of stuff, and just to keep her under lock and key so she wouldn't be out making any trouble. So it could be something like that, but I don't think NXT would do something that fun. But I'm very interested in what they're going to do with Xia Li and Boa. I'm interested. I'm very, very interested in what they're going to do with them. Mainly because they've been on the roster forever and nobody's ever done anything with them. So, August Gray, who is Anthony Green and Evolve, was going to explain why he attacked Timothy Thatcher during Timothy Thatcher's Thatch-Can exhibit. And instead, he gets beat up by Timothy Thatcher and choked out in a front face lock, which was great. Thatcher does not have any charisma, but that's actually what makes him work, is that he is like a grizzled coach. You know, like he's like maybe 10 years from being Mickey and Rocky. You know, he's gonna kill you, Rock. He's gonna kill you dead. But Dexter Lumis appeared out of nowhere, basically to just stare at Thatcher, and Thatcher kind of backed off like, look, I don't got no problem with you. And Lumis just did what Lumis does, which is to stare at people. So the next match was Toni Storm versus Candice LeRae, and man, Toni Storm, she is so bottom heavy. Super bottom heavy. Man. Okay, so they had a pretty good match. Candice LeRae cheated to win. I'm actually surprised because Toni Storm, like I said last week when they had Ember Moon lose to Dakota Kai, it seemed like they were building up Toni Storm to be the contender for the women's championship. And now they beat her with Candice LeRae, which made no fucking sense. Why did Candice LeRae need to win this match? Why couldn't this match end in disqualification? Why did Candice LeRae have to win? This doesn't make any sense. This is bad decision making. It's a bad decision. Now you got Toni Storm trapped in this situation with fucking Candice LeRae, who does not need any push. She does not need a push. She needs to get the fuck on. That's what needs to happen here. And but we're stuck with what we're stuck with. You know, so Shotzi Blackheart came out there to help after Candice LeRae. Well, Toni Storm got beat and she wasn't taking the loss very well. And she actually attacked Candice LeRae after the match. And then the masked Scream person appears, and then they started beating up on Toni Storm. And then Shotzi Blackheart ran out there to help, and then she got beat up. And then they take the mask off of the Scream character and it's Indy Hartwell, which should have been no surprise because they had already told us that it was Indy Hartwell when she sent them the TV. And we saw the Battle Royal and all that stuff from several weeks ago. I mean, this is, you have to understand, okay? NXT is appealing to you have to ask, are they appealing to a smart audience or not? Because a smart audience already knew it was Indy Hartwell, and we didn't need for them to run around in a mask for 2 weeks. So you have to ask that question: are they appealing to a smart audience? Because they are being very WCW with some of this. There's somebody in a mask attacking people every event and all that type of stuff. They kind of need to stop with that. But I'm okay with Indy Hartwell. I'm okay with them doing different things with different people. Same thing with Leon Ruff. Use these, same thing with Xia Li and Boa. I'm okay with seeing different people do different things. I do want to see what you want to do with Indy Hartwell. I'm interested. I just don't see why Toni Storm had to lose. You could have had Indy Hartwell interfere, and while still under mask, and then she unmasked later. But it's too late. What's done is done. But I just don't see how you are you building a division, but there's too much parity. There's too much everybody can beat everybody. There needs to be a pecking order. So that's really what I was looking at. We got Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai. We can talk about them in a minute. But we need a number 3 and a number 4 and a number 5. Ember Moon could have been number 3, but you beat her by having her lose to Dakota Kai. Toni Storm could have been number 3, but then you had to beat her by having her lose to Candice LeRae. So now you've got 1, 2, and then 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D. It's dumb. It's all stupid. And then there's probably going to be some more stuff coming up. It's dumb. It's just plain dumb. So then you got Timothy Thatcher, who wrestled Dexter Lumis. Now, Dexter Lumis earlier in the night was drawing pictures of Cameron Grimes and the Zombie Referee. And that actually plays into this match. So Dexter Lumis, I just realized really that he wrestles in jeans, a long sleeve t-shirt, long sleeve shirt, not a t-shirt, but long sleeve, Jesus, long sleeve shirt and gloves. He's got to be very hot. He has to be very, very hot. I know that has to be super uncomfortable. I don't know why they let guys wrestle in these. Like, I know it fits his character to wrestle, like, you know, like a serial killer. He's a murderer. He's supposed to dress pretty normal, but I don't like it. I don't like when guys wrestle like in jeans and stuff like that. It just looks trife. It looks unprofessional. It looks trife. I don't know. But this was a decent match. You know, Thatcher is a good worker, obviously. Lumis can't possibly be the champion. But I like him. You know, I don't think Lumis will make a good champion. I think that he's too good of a character. And he's also a guy you don't want to beat that often. So you have to, you know, maybe you give him the title to establish him. And then you take it off of him not too long afterwards. But I like Lumis. You know, I really do. I like the portrayal of the character. I like where they kind of go with it. They need to, you know, settle down on the supernatural stuff. We don't need that. But if we can do basically Dexter Lumis haunting various people, where he is basically a Jason Voorhees of NXT, where, you know, he sort of is the conscience of NXT, where if you were doing something that you got no business doing, you find yourself face to face with Dexter Lumis. Like, I would love that. Like, somebody do some dastardly deed. Like, let's give you an example. Like, let's say like the Kings of NXT, or whatever they call themselves. They beat up this guy. And then they laugh like, ha ha ha, yeah, we did it. They all high-fiving. And then in the back is just Dexter Lumis staring at them. And then somebody notices that he's watching them. And they're like, what the hell's going on with that guy? You know? Like, I think that adds a lot to the character. That he doesn't need to cut a promo. He doesn't need to say anything. But if you position him in the right place, where he's just watching bad things happen, and then he's kind of like the Avenger, who, you know, he doesn't really stop bad things from happening, but he sort of feels the need to deal with it once it's done. You know, like once he sees it, like the Spirit of Vengeance. Like, I don't know if you guys know anything about Ghost Rider, but Ghost Rider is a comic book from Marvel Comics. And the character is called the Ghost Rider. He basically is he rides a motorcycle, head's on fire. You probably seen that. And in the event, the Spirit of Vengeance, what happens is when innocent blood is spilled, the Spirit of Vengeance goes out to avenge. And so if you kill a child or something, then, you know, the Ghost Rider will hunt you down and give you the penance stare. And the penance stare inflicts all of your sins and all of your guilt wrapped into your brain, and it melts like your head and your face and everything. So it's like real metal. And, you know, the Ghost Rider was a really big character in the 90s. Actually, I still love the Ghost Rider, but it's not as popular as it used to be. But I think if you could do something like that with Dexter Lumis, where similar to what they were doing with Mustafa Ali, or however they pronouncing his name now, where he basically was just being like the street avenger, you could do that with Dexter Lumis and that would work. You know, because he doesn't have to say anything, he doesn't have to do anything. He just has to see bad things happening. You see him, he sees you, but you're spooked out. You're like, oh, what's going on with this guy? And then later when he comes to get you, you know why. You know, like he's like Candyman or something like that. I've talked too much about this guy. But I like Dexter Lumis now, so I'm excited. He lost this match, though. in weird fashion because Grimes interfered, so nobody can ever win a match clean in WWE. You know that. Statue was just pretty cool capture to pin Loomis. And then Grimes attacked Loomis after the match. He beat him down, put a bag over his head. I don't understand why Loomis just didn't take the bag off because he was in the bag for so long. Loomis grabbed a chair and was swinging the chair blind. It was ridiculous. Then Grimes knocked him down and then put him in the chair and then did the curb stomp, cave jump or whatever the fuck he calls his finishing move, where he stomps his feet on him. He did it in the chair. And then later on, Grimes says he's not scared of vampires, and he's not scared of ghouls or zombies. He was scared of Dexter Loomis's eyes because he was scared of them creepy eyes. But since he covered them up, there was no big deal. They're going to have a blindfold match, right? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. They're going to have a blindfold match, and I don't want to see it. I do not want to see a blindfold match in wrestling again. I don't want to see it. But they're going to have it. They're going to have themselves a blindfold match. And that's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Blindfold matches never work out. So Johnny Gargano went to William Regal, claiming that there was no contract for him to wrestle Leon Ruff. And that it was just a joke. That he never really meant to defend the title. He lost anyway. Regal said the decision stands. Leon Ruff is the North American champion, and Johnny Gargano threw a fit, which made sense. Then we get this really great Tommaso Ciampa promo. So Tommaso Ciampa is talking about the locker room culture of NXT and how it's changed and how it used to be. And he's like, he's a 16-year vet, and he came up with, trained with Killer Kowalski and Harley Race, real tough guys who never felt the need to tell you that they were tough. But you knew they were tough, because of what they did and what they went through. But now, everybody's like a fake tough guy. Everybody's so quick to tell you who's a tough guy. Now, he didn't put any names on this, but he says basically he's going to change the culture of the NXT locker room. So apparently there's some fake tough guys in the NXT locker room. He's going to expose them. I'm all about that. Let's see. I wish he had put a name on it first, just to give us an idea of who is a fake tough guy. Maybe it's probably going to be Bronson Reed. It's probably going to be Thick Boy. I'm not a fan of that, though. Not a fan of that. But Thick Boy and Tommaso Ciampa might be all right. That might be all right. It might be all right to help Thick Boy take it to the next level. So we get a prime target because Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley are actually going to main event next week's show. So they're going to do that match on TV, not even for a takeover. Wow. Okay. But it was cool because it told an interesting story. Rhea Ripley is still bothered, still haunted by the losses to Charlotte when she lost to Charlotte. And when she lost the triple threat match at In Your House to how Io Shirai got the belt. And Io Shirai is basically saying like, hey, I beat the best. I never look back. I never go over, my losses or my failures, and I fear no nightmares. And, Rhea Ripley's like, I'm more confident, more focused than ever. So, I think that Rhea Ripley's going to turn heel and win this match. So, that's what I think. I think that Io Shirai's had a good long run with the title. She's been champion for quite a while. I really would prefer that we go with the Io Shirai, Toni Storm, Io Shirai, Ember Moon matches. And then maybe have her drop it to one of them instead of dropping it to Rhea Ripley. There was some chatter a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week or so ago, that people are thinking Rhea Ripley's going to get called up to Raw or SmackDown. That would be fine, but I think NXT kind of needs her. Yes, if she's not the champion, what's the point? But she still can wrestle. She still got matches to do with Toni Storm in NXT. They did a lot of matches at NXT UK, but people didn't really see those because it's NXT UK. And the most prominent match they had was at Worlds Collide, which Rhea Ripley won because it was for the NXT title. Women's title. I'm sorry. They called it the NXT title at the time. You remember that time when they had the gender neutral championship? That was dumb, wasn't it? In any event, yeah. And then you have Ember Moon and Rhea Ripley, which I don't think has ever happened before. So you can, and I suppose you could still do that, but I hope they don't call Rhea Ripley up, because there's so many women on Raw and SmackDown that are underutilized. You really don't want to just add Rhea Ripley to that list. So the only other option that you have now is for either Io Shirai to just flat out beat Rhea Ripley, or for Rhea Ripley to regain the title. And either one is good. This is a good option. Either one of these options are good. I truly believe that we're probably about to see the beginning of the heel turn of Rhea Ripley. I think she's about to go heel. And I don't think she's been a heel on NXT yet. She's a heel in NXT UK, but I don't think she's been a heel in NXT yet. So, heel champion Rhea Ripley, who steals the title from Io Shirai, could be fine. That could be fine. Well, speaking of fun, Pat McAfee and his group, which I guess are calling themselves the Kings of NXT. I don't like that, so I'm not, until that's their official name, I refuse to call them that. I'll just call them Birch, Lorcan, and McAfee, and done. So let's not get too stupid here. So Pat McAfee cuts this promo. Oh no, I lost my paper. Oh no, I lost my paper. Okay. So he cuts this promo basically talking about how great it was to relive Killian Dane's injury. Talks about how Pete Dunne is killing people, which is true. He has been murdering folks. Talks about he had a company valued at $150 million. That we don't deserve Lorcan and Birch to watch them wrestle, but we're going to get it anyway. And then Lorcan and Birch have this pretty good match with Breezango. Now, Breezango is stale as fuck. Breezango has been stale for over a year. Every time I see them, I clamor for them to break up. But it seems like these guys are stuck together. They're like dresser drawers. They're just stuck together. You can't separate them. And anyway, this match was pretty good. Lorcan and Birch are great. They're fantastic. And Breezango did good, babyface, high-flying offense. Pete Dunne didn't really interfere. Nobody really interfered that much. And then Drake Maverick interfered. Because you can't have a match in WWE without somebody interfering. And he tried to help Breezango win the titles. And even going so far as to attack, what was it? I think it was Birch he attacked. And then Pete Dunne had to chase him down and beat him up. Then Breezango hit his big Alabama jam, frog leg drop from the top rope, which I think it was Lorcan kicked out of. I'm not a fan of people kicking out of folks' finishers, but if you're going to put these guys over, put them over heavy, right? So Lorcan ended up pinning Fandango, and Lorcan and Birch retained the titles, and they beat up everybody, and that was pretty much it. That's what they thought. But then Drake Maverick climbed the top rope and tried to fight all four of them by himself and got beat down. Then Breezango got up and they tried to fight him. Then they got beat down. And then I believe Tyler Breeze got punted by Pat McAfee. So we end the show with heel heat. And McAfee came out talking stuff, talking that ish, calling us names, saying that we're stupid and we don't deserve Lorcan and Birch, which, if we being honest, we truly don't. Those two guys are great. And that was NXT for November the 11th, 2020. Solid show. Solid show. Don't agree with everything. I'm going to take a wait and see approach on the Leon Ruff stuff. I'm not thrilled by it, because I know that it doesn't mean that much. If they were serious about Leon Ruff, he would have won several matches or something, and then this would have happened. But with them trying to go 1, 2, 3 kid, Mikey Whipwreck with it, I guess it could be some fun in him being this champion in peril, where every time he defends the title, or every time he appears, there's a chance he could lose it, and that kind of gets you invested. But I also think that maybe the first time he wrestles any real challenge, he's just going to lose the belt. But I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach with that. Wait-and-see approach with Indy Hartwell, even though I don't like that Candice LeRae won the match. Take a wait-and-see approach with Xia Li and Boa. I'm actually very interested in that. But the show was pretty solid, especially from an in-ring perspective. I could have done without all the distraction finishes, but still pretty good show. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.